Welcome to the show, Tuesday, June 18th. BKG will be joining us shortly, so we'll just get some formalities out of the way early on. He's getting back from training. Believe it or not, he's preparing for something. His training is getting more intense. Well, maybe we'll ask him about it. It's the 11th time preparing for this event that he's got coming up in 6 or 7 weeks. Show today is brought.
You'd imagine it get easier, right?
We're gonna ask him all about that. Find out from someone's perspective who actually knows. We'll save this one for when he actually shows up. We'll pull it up again. But as always, show is presented by HCR CBD. If you guys have not had a chance to check them out, please consider doing it. Huge support to the channel, huge help with me in training. It's been cool to see some other people that I know get some benefits out of it recently as well. JR, Bryson, Taylor, those guys. If you ever do, buy any of their products and use it, feel free to tag us on stuff. But like I said, he's been a huge support to us and to me personally. So give him a chance. If you haven't, Friend 20% off all their products. If you've just kind of stumbling upon this show, we've been in the midst of interviewing a bunch of athletes for the CrossFit Games. We don't always do that throughout the year. Most of the athletes we've been talking to are relatively new to the scene. Paige Semenza and today's guest, BKG, would be exceptions in that regard. But it's kind of fun to have the balance of perspectives. We've had, 4, I think, Games rookies and one more coming up later this week in terms of Victor Hoffer. And then we've had, Semenza and BKG that are, big time veterans of the sport, many Games appearances to kind of balance out that perspective. And later this week, we'll have Yellow Hoste. That is kind of in between second year, an interesting case study in and of it himself. This weekend, we have Fittest of South Carolina coming up. I'll be heading out there Thursday night to get everything going. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we'll be bringing you that competition on B.Friendly Fitness. It's kind of a local, obviously it's local to South Carolina, but should be a pretty fun one. PC, did you see I played my best ever round of disc golf the other day?
I saw that. Yeah, the footage looks really good. And it's so funny because right when you put that up, Lee put up a post as well saying that he beat you and that he's the fittest disc golf player or something like that. So
he's definitely the fittest person I know who's beaten me. I've only played with a couple. Sam DeMeester did not beat me. BKG will be in a second. Johnny, thanks for joining us. He's just getting back from training. Text PC and said he'll be on in a couple minutes. It was like, yeah, thanks, Melanie. It was kind of I haven't been playing. So I played 2 courses that I've played before the previous day, and this was a course I never played before. So I thought there, maybe some fun shots or something like that. And I just started filming, and I was parking holes. I just was within 10 feet on the first 2 holes for birdie, which is unusual. And then I just kept piping lines. I had 1 bogey on the day. That was the only shot that I hit a tree. I obviously had to scramble from there, took the bogey, but my putting was the best it's been. And sometimes things just click like that. So that was cool. And then if you can see some of the highlights, or some guy was like, "Oh, you look like a pro." I'm like, well, you should actually watch the pros play because you'll see it's quite a bit different. I have played Nevin Park 1 time. It's not that close to me. It's 40 minutes away. It's kind of on the opposite side of Charlotte. But I'd like to go back out there. All the courses are 20 to 30 minutes away that are close. That one's just a little further. So maybe I should go back out there again. But yeah, Charlotte's one of it's considered to be, I think, the most number of high-level courses in the area of any place in the U.S. Hello, Renata. And so I've been trying to play them all, and or as many of them as I can. And then I just noticed that there was that one that I hadn't played, so went and played it. And I guess I'll go back.
Did you see I squat snatch yesterday?
135 pounds for several reps, it sounded like?
Nope, it was 95. I scaled up to 90. Yeah, but it's the first time I've squat snatched again that high weight and that that many reps in 9 months. So, it was funny because when we first started the workout, we're warming up to it, and I missed the first one. I always miss the first one, and our coach comes over and she goes, "Maybe you should scale it to power snatches." I'm like, "No, I always miss the first one." So Look at this guy.
What's up?
Björgvin, you and I have just gotten back from training, and Patrick is just waking up for the day.
Oh, really? What time is it, Brian?
It's noon here. It's 11 a.m. where Patrick is, and it's probably 4 or 5 o'clock where you are.
Yeah, it's 4. Yeah. So what's up?
You're dealing with what, like 20 hours of daylight now during the summer?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much bright throughout the 24 hours. It's especially bad right now, and for the last maybe 3 weeks. And then after that, now it starts kind of getting like a little bit dark during night, but late, and then, the next 8 or 9 months. So I'm okay with this.
Okay.
It's there's a lot of people when they talk about sleep, they want to have like total darkness, blackout curtains, things like that. Clearly that's important for you guys just as a way of life, regardless of if you're, a competitive athlete or not. Are you guys the masters of blocking out all the light in the summer months?
Yeah. I mean, I paint my room very dark, like in dark colors. I guess a lot of people do that as well. But yeah, I have the blackout curtains. Walls are like dark, and I really like during summer. I feel definitely the difference because I used to have, my whole life I've had white walls, and I just decided to do this maybe 4 years ago, and I actually noticed some difference during the summer, especially.
I did, I don't know, 6-7 years ago now, I went to Alaska on a trip in the summer. And Alaska's, it's pretty high up there, like you guys are towards the, the Arctic Circle. So it's very similar. And they had dark color walls, like at all the lodges and stuff like that. So maybe it makes a difference.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, have you, like, do you know anyone else outside of Iceland or wherever you were that does that kind of stuff? I'm not sure.
I'm gonna be up in Norway in 2 weeks.
Yeah, of course.
So we'll see. BKG, do you know who this person is? Ludvig Oberg.
Do I? Yeah, it's a golfer, right? Yeah.
Yes.
He was at the US Open this weekend doing a very good job. It's nice to see Scandinavian, both Ludvig and Victor Hovland as well.
Wow, Victor Hovland did not have a great tournament. I think he missed the cut by one shot, but he is a great young player.
Yeah,
and Oberg has been phenomenal since throughout this whole season. He's been really good, like top 10 on the tour.
Do you guys play golf?
We were. This is actually funny.
A little bit.
Okay.
I was talking before you came on. I was talking about disc golf. That's the type of golf that I play now, and CJ got excited about that, but then we stopped talking about it since you came on.
Do you play golf? Do you golf?
Yeah. I mean, probably like for the last, I don't know, 9-10 summers I've gone maybe once. But I'm actually, like, this summer I've been playing quite a lot. It was actually after the games last year. We went out to Orlando, and you know how it was. I don't know if that was a good thing to do, to go to Orlando in like August. It was like 37 degrees. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, and then it was just humid as hell.
Yep.
You bend over to put your ball on the tee, and your shirt's already sticking to your body. Yeah,
we played this one. We played 18, and then after I came home, I kind of just got like hooked again, and now I'm getting some teaching lessons from my friend who's very good at golf.
Well, you're not the only one. Ricky Garrard has been picking up the golf after he realized that mountain biking wasn't the best hobby for
Yeah, I just think that golf it makes sense, like especially on active recovery days. You're pretty much just like hitting a golf ball and then walking. That's pretty much it. So I guess it fits in perfectly to this lifestyle.
Are there many good golf courses in Iceland? I'm not sure.
I mean, there are beautiful golf courses, but you get 3, 4, maybe 5 months tops. Not even with great weather. So it's like you can't really play throughout the whole year, but the sceneries are awesome on summer.
I can only imagine. Yeah.
Are they like links style courses? like kind of like open with wind blowing through, or is there? Because I've played in Hawaii before, where there's like golf courses in the lava pits, and obviously you guys have some volcanic activity there.
Yes,
as well.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think whoever made those golf courses, they definitely took advantage of the nature and like being, there's so many and they're so like different, like through lava, mountains, alleys, just name it. It's
A
awesome to
volcano.
try. Yeah, yeah.
Active volcano, probably.
No, well, I wouldn't. You don't want to be close to that.
I know. It's funny because I watched like Snorri's stories and some of the other people, and that volcano that was there by the
Airport,
by the airport, and it's just like it's crazy that's right there. And how is it still pretty much closed down in that area?
Yeah, so you can't really go there. Like, there's no way you can go there now. They've closed all roads leading to the town Grindavik, where people had to evacuate, and nobody lives there anymore. And people pretty much had to like give up their homes and move. And I guess, Grindavik is like 30 minutes outside of Reykjavik. So a lot of people moved to Reykjavik. A lot of people actually moved to where I live now. I'm about an hour from that place. And I mean, it's not a great scenario to be in, right? I mean, there's so many people that have lived there their whole lives. And then all of a sudden, what was it? Maybe 4 years ago, where the first one was, there was like a nice scenery. We had got a lot of tourism. Like, I went there. You could go up so close. Like, I'm not joking. I was like maybe 3 meters away from it at one point. And I went there with Yami, my coach, and he was like, we just got to stay here for the next 4, 5, 6 hours. I have to like just get it all in. That was fucking amazing. But then, every year it's been a new one. And then this one is just like, or the last two have been located just so close. And, that's just dangerous.
Have they still, is a Blue Lagoon, is that still closed too?
Yeah.
Which sucks because, that's obviously a big tourist attraction as well.
And I mean, probably the most famous tourist place to visit when you come to Iceland, right? I mean, it's so close to the airport.
Right by the airport,
Yeah, exactly.
Man, that sucks.
It's a serious situation, but
what happens when you live in Iceland?
Do you know if it exists anything like volcano insurance? Like in certain parts of the U.S., if you're in a flooding zone, you have flood insurance.
Yes. So they definitely have. They had insurance. There have been some like cases, I guess, like where you're not insured like that well, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah,
but,
no.
But I think the government is doing an okay job with helping these people getting them new homes and like buying the homes from them at a decent price.
PC, do you have BKG's CrossFit Games profile available?
I do.
Because I wanted to congratulate him on something, if it's okay.
I will. I'll pull it up right now.
What do you have?
He's nervous.
Just go to the bio there. I just wanted to congratulate BKG. He's now a 3-time CrossFit Games veteran.
Oh yeah, 3 times.
BKG, 3-time CrossFit Games veteran, career best finish, 3rd place in 2015.
Wow.
Maybe it's time to update that.
So that was written in 2016 or something? Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Maybe late 16? Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, at least they have the podium finish there in 15.
Yeah. And the picture from Murph that you won.
Yeah.
Look at how young you look in that picture.
Yeah, can I see it?
Yeah.
That is some old ass picture. You can see the sweatband that I'm having there. Like,
that's amazing.
Yeah, I was trying to.
Speaking of that sweat, were you trying to be like Rich Froning?
Yes, I was going to say that.
Because did you see Brent Fikowski's post recently?
Yeah.
I'll leave it to Brent Fikowski to see something from an Instagram meme, make a mental note of it, then act on it at a semifinal level without telling anyone, and then only after the fact draw attention to it from himself.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that was pretty good. I have to say, that was pretty good.
But
Yeah,
in
it's
reality,
almost like next year. It's like a 10 years Murph anniversary. I should have a huge party or something.
You should just do that.
Because that was your first first event win at the CrossFit Games.
Yeah, I've only won 2, I think. Murph and then the yoke, GHD, like burpee, something over the hay bales or whatever they're called.
Was that 2018?
No, 2021.
2021?
2021.
Yeah, that's
that year
right.
they didn't. That year they didn't name any of the workouts, so it lives in history as individual event 13.
Oh, okay. All right.
That was at North Coast. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that they weren't really satisfied with me finishing it in maybe, was it 2 or 3 intervals? It was supposed to be a much longer workout.
Yeah, you almost finished it the first round.
Oh yeah. So
and so did Tia. And actually, Patrick, you I don't know if it was Dave recently talked about this workout. I think it was on the show he went on with Sevan during the East Coast. And J.R. Hall was on the show and John Young. And one of them asked him a question, and he was listing off a couple workouts from his history of programming that he felt like he was disappointed in himself with by the output. And he mentioned the Fibonacci finale because none of the guys finished. And he thought that like half the field or a third of the field would. And then that workout is the ones where he's like, the testing didn't elicit the stimulus that I thought that the athletes would have. And it showed, and people knew it.
Because
I mean, it was. Wouldn't you think it was an okay workout for like most of the guys, though, right? I mean, they got through the workout in what, like 4 intervals, like 4 minutes of like, was it a 2-minute work and then a 1-minute rest or something? That's true. It's like
the field. It was actually really spread out through the field. Like the best people compared to the worst people was a huge difference. I think he was he was expecting the best people to have a chance to finish it in 2 intervals, but probably 3. And it turned out that the best people were really close to finishing in 1 interval, which he didn't expect.
Yeah, that's true. That makes sense.
When you see a comment like this, I miss Con and BK shenanigans. Does that bring up good memories?
Yeah, that definitely brings up good memories. I'm in good contact both with Khan and Tola. I get to see them this summer as well, and we've been hooking up a little bit after they moved from Iceland. We did the team competition, like we did Waterpalooza together, and then I'm just hoping Tola to like win this year, and then maybe move back to Iceland and train with me next year.
It's definitely it feels like it's due for him to win one of these. Like he's been on such good teams. Small things have gone wrong. He's come close. From what it's sometimes it's hard to tell with an athlete who's competing primarily on teams year after year after year. But from the chances that I get to see him work out, it looks like he personally is in the best shape he's ever been in. And when it comes to the team element of things, it seems difficult to find a more reliable teammate across the board than him. Like he's shored up a lot of holes.
Yeah, that is true. I think he's been like gradually and like at the right pace getting much better. Like we saw some amazing performances last year, especially like he almost won the Open. Well, I know like he was good on the thruster, but he also showed like he's got engine and like his running is much better than he used to. And I think he's been in the like trying to win the games probably for I don't know how many years now. Like I really want him to win, and then I want him to try to go individual. And I know that he loved to live in Iceland, and he really liked to be here. And then it's a great picture. And then I just hope that at one point we can make that happen.
Yeah,
that's really cool. And we got a chance to catch up with Tola a bit at the East Coast semifinal, and he seems also just like composed with like seems like he's in a good place in life in general.
Yeah. I think have you noticed that every year after the games, Tola goes in this like ghost mode?
Yep.
Yeah, like trip. Absolutely, like you have no idea where he is, and then all of a sudden he pops up in like Sweden, like 3 months later or something. But I think that's awesome. That's definitely the way to do it, is just to like, okay, like do something else. Like he knows that he can get in shape. Like this is just like a mental break, and I think that in many cases, a lot of us might just need to do that as well.
Well, you know, there's CJ threw this comment up here. There's a lot of talk about Travis Mayer and Cole Sager making the games so many times, but he says BK is in a different league. He's still a contender. He's still a factor. And we're talking now 10 years after you started your, you know, CrossFit Games, your journey, 11 years. You made the podium back in 2015. You made it again several years later, 2019. You've been in the top 10. Last year, the only reason you missed the top 10 was because you couldn't lift heavy on the Olympic total. Like, you're a staple in the top 10. And, you know, you must know some secrets about what it takes to have longevity in this sport.
Yeah. Well, I was actually asked about this in the media just here in Iceland after the semifinals, and I gave it a good thought, and I just think that I mean, I've been working with the same guy for the last 13 years. He happens to be an osteopath as well, so he can do treatments on me, and then, you know, throughout those years, like, he starts to like know my body, knows exactly how much it can handle, and it's just like we just talk so much that he just kind of senses a little bit when I'm getting a little tired, or if we can push a little bit more. He doesn't really need me to always be telling him like how I'm feeling. He kind of just like, he's dialed in. He knows exactly what we're trying to work on and how much I can handle. And then, of course, I just get more experience. And I'm much more experienced now than I was in 2014. But I also entered the sport at this age of, I also entered the sport at, like, you know, I'm not a teenager anymore, but I'm like 19, 20 years old, like ready to almost like dedicate. It's not like at that point, I'm still not missing you know what I mean? Like, I've done the partying and I've done the drinking and all of that kind of stuff. So I wasn't missing anything. So I was just ready to go all in and like learn it properly from the start.
Was that just coincidence that you ended up having this relationship with Yami right at the start of your career, or did someone recommend him to you?
So pretty much there were probably like, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 CrossFit gyms in Iceland at that point. This was in 2012. But you know that Annie was coming off her win in 11 and 12, and she's been working with Yami since day one, basically. And this meant that he was in CrossFit Reykjavik every now and then to meet up with Annie, and that's how I met him, because I started training CrossFit at CrossFit Reykjavik with this kind of like RX group that was doing the workouts in a little bit more after the gym had closed during night. So we used to meet up at like 7:30, and we would pretty much do like double sessions and be done by 10 at night. We probably did that for like a year and a half, like a very tight and good group of people. And Annie would join in every now and then. And yeah, I mean, that's just how I met Yami, and it didn't make any sense to do anything else than the training plan. We had the access because we trained at that gym, and we just felt like we got the guidance and the best guidance following that plan.
Was Yami at those trainings a lot?
I mean, he came over like sometimes just to like, I think he did what was it called, the CrossFit L1 or something. Isn't it called?
Oh, seminar?
Yeah,
seminar.
the level 1. Sorry, level 1. He was on the seminar staff, and he came to Iceland just to teach that. He taught me actually in 2012 while I failed the test. And he came to teach. He also came to meet up with meet up with Danny, and then he was
And then he
there
never
at
left.
the gym. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we kind of just like hooked up. I don't know how he saw me, or like I don't really remember. It's been a while. It's a while ago.
Were there any other athletes in those training sessions that we would know, or that went on to have successful careers?
I mean, it was me and Frederick for sure. Like Frederick was there with Danny, and he was at that time he was already games athlete. We have a lot of the guys that went with CrossFit Reykjavik on the team.
That
Yeah,
17?
yeah, I mean, they went there in, didn't they go like 13, 14, 15,
Yeah.
16?
Yeah.
They had teams like those early days.
Yeah.
We have, well, Sara Sigmundsdóttir, she was at the level 1 with me when Yami was actually teaching.
In 2012?
In 2012, yeah. We went to the
That's crazy.
same level 1. I failed the test. I think she passed.
Do you actually remember meeting her there, or was it like years later that you guys figured out that you were both there?
No, I remember her there. But she was at that point, like I think she was recognized like a little bit later in the year, or in 2013. Did she qualify for the regionals in 2013? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, then at that point it was like, yeah, I knew who she was, but I don't think. Yeah, she didn't make it to the regionals or something at that year.
She was at regionals in 2013, but she was listed as last. She did one workout. She did one workout. She got 7th place, and then she didn't take the floor after that. So I don't know.
Oh, so something must have happened. I don't remember this. No, I remember.
Yeah, I've never looked at her result from 2013 before. Yeah, 7th place on event 1, DNF for the rest of the events.
Do you know what the first workout at the semifinals in 13 was?
JR would know it off the top of his head. I have to look it up.
I don't remember.
It's let's see. We'll find it here. I could have known. Maybe I could have known this one. Actually, it was Jackie.
Of course, it was Jackie.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I remember that. I remember that for sure. Wow. But that was a real Jackie. No weight.
That was Jackie as written. Do you remember watching Rich Froning and the guys in the Central East do that workout? Because that was crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy. And they went, was it the weekend after, or maybe 2 weeks after? I think so. But like, I remember texting with Frederick at that point. Like, I was still just so like sore and beaten up. And just like, I remember my chest was always like popping a little bit. Like I've never felt soreness like that before, because this was like my first, I guess, proper CrossFit competition. And I was texting with Frederick, watching everything live, and like just like seeing Scott Pancic and Rich Froning going head to head, like in all of those workouts, and he was just like absolutely butchering our times. And it was that was CrossFit at its finest. That was awesome to watch.
Yeah, they had the 100s chipper that year. That's probably pretty nasty if you were relatively new to competition.
Yes.
And 30 burpee
no,
muscle ups.
we had Mikko Salo and I think Lacey Kovacs.
Lacey Kovacs, that's a
yeah.
throwback.
You remember that guy?
He won it that year. It's Lacey, Mikko Salo, and Frederick Agidius.
That was crazy on the 100s chipper. Like both of them were like going head to head, and I remember a 32.5 kilo dumbbell or something. I don't know, probably like 70, 75 pounds on the dumbbell. That was like crazy heavy for everybody. So you can just see how the level has gone up by like, I don't know how many, but it's just crazy.
I was asking Ben Smith about that in Knoxville. I asked him, I said, do you in any way feel like it's as challenging to qualify for a semifinal now as it used to be to qualify for the games 10 years ago? Or if that's a fair comparison to make or not?
I mean, I would say so. I mean, we only got 3 spots, at least out of Europe. And then it was like Mikko, because he was a former champion. So he got the wild card, right? So it was like potentially top 4 that went to the games. I I was pretty quick at like catching up with the guys. I have to say, like, because I started doing CrossFit in 2012. I qualified in 2014. Like, there's no way you do that today. Like, if you have to have, so many years in the bank. You probably have to be, I don't know, if you want to make it young, you have to start doing CrossFit at like, I don't know, 12 to 15 years old, and then maybe you make it at 21. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just hard, and it's just a lot of work today. But I was probably like pretty quick at picking up skills, and like muscle ups were never a problem, and like walking on your hands and those like separators that they had at the semifinals. Probably pretty quick at picking that up and being like a little bit better than other people, and I guess that was probably the reason why I qualified in 2014 for the first time.
Yeah, and I mean, there are certainly athletes that have had a similar trajectory as you in terms of they started out there pretty good, they get a little better, they made it. If you just look at your regionals, you went from ninth to third to second to first in your first 4 years there. So you're just like you're
exactly.
already in the top 10 when you first show up, and then you're just getting better and better. But a lot of the people like that, you'll see them kind of have this peak, and then you might see them there for a year or two, and then they kind of fall away. There's these rare exceptions because it's not only the ability to do it, but it's also the desire to want to continue doing it.
Yeah,
you have these guys like you, Cole Sager, Vellner, Fikowski, Noah, that they get up to a certain level and more or less they're able to stay that for 10 years. That blows my mind.
Yeah. Everything just like falls into one a little bit when I think back. It's like it's so many years, but at the end of the day, it's like, I think we all have the same goal. Like, we have our careers, we really want to win, and we also have people in our corners that keep us on our toes, making new goals for each season. And I think that's very important, is to keep your, well, I wouldn't want to say motivation, but like desire to try to get better each and every year. And I mean, it's fun. Like, you have to also have fun working on things that you're not great at. And if that makes sense, it's like, it doesn't have to be a pain in the ass to work on something that you suck at. It's all right that, I just kind of like doing a lot of CrossFit and working on whatever I need to work on.
When you say that you want to win, is that always the mindset, or as the years go by, maybe based on how you're feeling, how you perceive the rest of the field, or anything else, that you have like some modifications to that, like whether or how realistic that is or not?
I mean, let's say like in the beginning of each season, like that is like here, it's like the ultimate goal, right? But it's a journey to get there. Like, you want to have a good off season. Like, you want to be able to train hard throughout those months and like build your confidence throughout the off season. Basically, it's like, I want to be, well, I don't need to be ready in the open, but I want to have good results. Like, it doesn't make any sense for me to just like, I coast the open, but everyone fucking follows the leaderboard, right? And then I want to improve between the open and the quarterfinals, and I want to go to the semifinals feeling confident. And with that confidence comes the belief that, well, I can do this. And that is like a little bit how I felt both in 15, but I was just like a little bit young to understand, but definitely in 19, it was like, I remember thinking to myself, like, I'll be pissed if I don't make it to the podium. Like, I'll be absolutely fucking pissed. It doesn't make any sense I'll finish outside of the podium. And then that kind of just happened. You know what I mean? But that's also because I had great off-season and just like, just dialed in and just balanced in life in general.
Why do you think 2019? Why? I mean, you mentioned balance, but why do you think 2019? Was it because you did a little bit more off-season competitions. Because I think 2019 that was a sanctional year. You did I think you did quite a few golf. I think you did you did the competition in Reykjavik. I think you did Dubai. I don't know what other ones you did, but do you think that prepared you for that season, that game season?
Yeah, so I think I finished like in December 2018, which is like pre-2019 season. I did the Dubai. Well, Fraser won, but I came in second. It was like a pretty good performance in Dubai there. In the Open, did like very well in the Open, and then I obviously got my ticket in 2019 to the games in the Open. So that's like a little bit different there. And then all of a sudden you had like half a year to prepare for the games. So then that makes sense that, since they had the sanctionals in Reykjavik, the RCC, and, they did amazing. I still feel to this day, well, partly because it was in Iceland, but I just really enjoyed that competition. We had quite a lot of guys coming over actually. And that's true, probably, like that prepped me and gave me a great boost of confidence to like win that outright, like pretty, not easily, but there was never in danger. And I just felt sharp, and you know how it is. It's kind of like everything everything goes like hand in hand, like life and CrossFit, and just the balance between the two. And there was nothing in particular that happened. It was just that I'm in a I'm in a great spot, and it's just awesome to be here, and I really like training, and
There was a specific athlete that was at both of those competitions, Dubai and Reykjavik. I think it was probably not your first time competing against him, but it might have been the first time that's many people got to see him, and that's Roman.
Yeah, he was there. Yeah, of course. Roman came there. I remember that when he came here, like, I don't know, maybe 5-6 days prior to the competition. He landed and did so many qualifiers. He did so many qualifiers in Iceland in like 3 or 4 days before the competition. I was like, boy, like you're completely destroying yourself. And I mean, he was kind of destroyed coming into the competition, I guess, because what was he, like outside of top 10? Or?
That makes sense. He was 9th, but he was finishing behind guys like Josh Gervais, who's a good guy out of Canada, but should never beat Roman. John Colte, who made the games the year before he got the last spot in one of the North America semifinals. Connor Duddy, who's been on the fringes. He made the game actually one year, I think in 2019 as well. He qualified. But yeah, he shouldn't be losing to those guys. So that makes sense that he was in that case. But even then, he wasn't necessarily the same athlete that he is now. It was actually, I think, the following year where he really made a jump forward and started having some performances that made me think like, okay, this guy might actually be the real deal. Because the next year in Dubai, he took 3rd and you took 4th, and he beat you by 100 points. And I was like, you don't just walk off the street and beat BKG by 100 points. I don't care what the competition is.
That's true. That is true. I do remember though, because that was 2019 Dubai, right?
Yeah, so 2018 you were 2nd to Fraser. 2019 you were 4th behind Bukowski, Vellner, and Roman, ahead of Lazar and a bunch. That year was stacked. Fraser wasn't there, but the field was stacked.
Yeah, I remember slacking a little bit after the games. Like I felt like a little bit on top of the world after the games in 2019, and those few months after the games, I was just like, fuck it, a little bit for a couple of months. And I felt
still good enough to beat Lazar and Yona though, so that's important.
Yeah, but I felt so messed up after Dubai. I was like that was probably prepared. Like I was not prepared for this competition. I usually am very well prepared, and I take everything very seriously, but I was just not handling. It was just.
Do you remember this? BK hands Fraser his buoy back when he lost it in the swim. So classy.
Yeah, who is this? Who is CJ? Yeah, okay.
A fan.
So I mean, what struck me the most was that he, like the look on his face. He was like in front of me. He lost his buoy. I could have just like taken that buoy, thrown it, and then like beat the guy. But instead of doing that, I just like handed it to him, and he was just in like total shock. I'm not sure he would have done that himself.
Fraser probably would have thrown it.
Yeah.
He was probably
But,
next year at the games. He was probably wondering where you were to pick up his sandbag during the ruck run.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was in front of me. I didn't see that sandbag fall out of the bag. So
this is pretty cool. Speaking of fans, ironically fit. I almost missed this one. BKG, favorite athlete of all time, fan since 2015. He was the athlete that hooked me on CrossFit.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, this is one of the things that I've, because now I'm like a little bit older and I've been doing this for such a long time, and I feel like it's safe to say that I've maybe changed some people, or I've made people start doing CrossFit or eat a little bit better, or move more than they used to, or whatever. Like if I can feel that I've helped a little bit of some people, then I'm just happy about that. And I think it's just, I'm pretty proud of that throughout my career, that I'm actually having an impact on people.
There was one other year. I'm sure you're not the only one, but there we go. Inspiration.
Awesome. Thank you.
6 total hearts from her today. Yes. I've never gotten any hearts from her.
That's a record. That's a new record for hearts.
There were. I also wanted to ask you about 2021 because in 2019, I thought you painted the picture really well. I qualified through the Open. I'm second place worldwide. It's to Fraser. I go to Dubai. I compete really well. It's second place to Fraser. And so you have this idea that winning is the ultimate goal, but he's in the picture. And he's like, I've been beating everyone, but I'm not even really close to this guy. Maybe I shouldn't have given him his buoy back. He doesn't need any extra help.
No.
But it's like the podium sounds to me like in 2019 that was like the minimum goal, with this belief that I'm in a place where maybe, just maybe, I could do it. And like that year, he looked a little human, because of the structure or whatever. Like Noah pushed him right to the brink. And then,
absolutely.
And then there's 2020, whatever. But in 2021, he retires. And you seem to be in good form in 2021. And that was the first year in a while that the men's field really open. And I think a lot of us prior to that games were looking at maybe 4-5 guys and thought that they could probably win. I'm not sure anyone was including Justin in that category. But do you remember where your mindset was that first year after Fraser retires in terms of what the top potential was?
Yeah, absolutely. And I also remember that I just missed that podium because I couldn't lunge to the end, and then Fikowski got in front of me, right? He beat me by one. He needed someone in between, and he got somebody in between because I couldn't step over that finish line. In 2021, I didn't squat from the semifinals and until the games because I had this inflammation in my bursa on my left hip, and so I basically didn't do any squatting or lunging or anything, and that they had to have some lunges at the end of the competition. And but with all being said, like coming in fourth in 2021, that was just an absolute miracle. Like I had been like pretty hurt throughout the season. I was just having some issues with my left hip, and that's just sometimes how it goes. And I guess there are probably a lot of stories about something similar, and then you still perform. But this is kind of like that was very pleased with the fourth place, but it kind of sucked to not have been on the podium. But that was like a little bit different. I wasn't like as positive coming into the games in 21 as I was in 2019. Yeah, so nothing really to talk about there. Ask him about his lunch course. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But it's safe to say, like, I've been lunching a lot over the last 3 years, so no worries. Like, my lunching is fine now.
Yeah, and it's good perspective too, because on paper you would look at someone with your credentials and say, okay, this guy's been third twice, he's been fifth twice, he's always in the top 10. and now the podium top spot is available because Fraser's retired, so we're going to have a new champion regardless. He's a good candidate, but you kind of parallel it with it physically. You weren't coming into that season with the same level of health and therefore confidence that you did in some previous years.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think everybody it was like a little bit strange to think about it because Fraser had been on the scene for such a long time. And then all of a sudden in 21, it was just wide open. Everybody was like, I've got to make it, whatever. I don't know, maybe, in hindsight, if I think back, maybe I did a little bit too much. Maybe I wanted to win a little bit too much. Now I'm just thinking, I don't know why I got like a little bit hurt, but it would have been maybe nice to have squatted for 6 months prior to the games. But yeah, I remember this. Oh, yeah.
Nice one. Nice find there, PC.
Yeah.
And so that 2021 happens. And then, I'm just looking at numbers on paper. I don't know all the details that you do about physically where you're at, whatever. You go to Lowlands Throwdown that year. You have a good performance. You take second to Lazar. Clearly, he's become a really difficult athlete to beat at the semifinal stage of competition and perennial guy in the top 10. So it's like that's still a great performance, second place in a semi.
Yeah.
And it has this streak because you were first the year before that, and at regionals, after the first year, you were third, second, first, fourth. And then these last 2 years, it's been a little bit tougher at the semifinal stage with the 8th and a 7th. And I watched you compete this year and last year live, and nothing was guaranteed. Like you were you were fighting for a spot right up to the last day.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's true. And especially this year, coming off like a very good off season, like I'm healthy and nothing wrong and just feels balanced all in all. Also been training and sharing results with Jonne and Henrik, and that's pretty much a first now that we have Jonne on board and we're doing a full off season with him. When I talk about with him, it just basically means that we're doing the same programming. We're not at the same, we're not even in the same country. He lives in Finland. But I get all of his results and he gets all of mine and I get all of Henrik's and Ludwig. This is just the group of people that we've been sharing everything this season. And then we look at Jonne coming in and just absolutely destroying the Open and quarterfinals and just looking great. And for myself, like very happy with the performance at the quarters and in the Open as well. Like just very confident coming into the semifinals, but it's just like you have to be able to put it together at this weekend throughout those 3 days. And I can only talk for myself, but like whenever like you want a little bit of momentum and a little bit of luck, whatever, but you create your own luck, right? But it's just like you get this like maybe a little bit of feeling that it's just like it's almost like somebody punched you a little bit in the stomach after the first one, and then a little bit hotter after the second one, and then it's just fuck. I've got to like dig myself out of this hole. I'm very proud of being able to dig myself out of the hole on Sunday, but I still feel like I'm good enough to have just finished in top 5 in the first 2 ones and then just stayed there throughout the weekend, if you know what I mean. Like that's what I'm just not so happy about.
You could have made it a lot less stressful.
Yes, exactly. And it's sweet and everything, and I think my family and friends that came out to watch me, I think this was like an epic ending to their vacation or journey to the semifinals, but I kept them on their toes. But for myself, like I think all in all, I want to be performing a little bit better. And yeah, we've taken a look into that for sure.
And that totally makes sense. Just the level of success you're used to compared to what that was. But at the same time, to me, watching that specifically when you finished the snatch ladder, and then when your name was announced as qualifying for your 11th consecutive CrossFit Games, what I saw in your emotions and in the way that like it's kind of like the subconscious that you can't even control it, is that the fire is still there. And like this still means a lot to you. And if nothing else from this weekend in terms of performances or execution was a positive, I would count that as a win, as like a check-in with yourself. Look at this. I mean, this is a guy that's 12 years deep in this sport, having one of the best longevity careers we've ever seen, and it still means that much to you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And this is also important. I think it means the world to me, and I think everything around, like everything else in my life goes around what I'm trying to do with CrossFit. You know, I'm just not has not like been rolling a little bit to the side or anything throughout the couple of last years, but that, you know, this is still as much of a passion as it was in 14, 15, 16, 17. You know what I mean? It's, and I appreciate that you recognize that, because, you know, things, whatever it is, it's just like whatever the stats might say. And like you said before, it's like stats are just the stats. And, but that is true. Like I would have wanted to make it a little bit easier for myself on this year's semifinals.
There was a question from really early on in the show that I want to bring up in a second, but I'm going to show you the question so it can just be in your mind here. She's asking about your favorite events from all of the CrossFit Games you've been to. But I did want to kind of put in context something, because although you've qualified for 11 consecutive games, there was this 2020 year where you competed at the CrossFit Games, but it was online. And you ended up coming up short of the qualifying for the top 5. The first thing I'm curious about is, would you have even been able to get there? Do you know, in that year, like if you made it?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think I would have been able to do it. At least it would have been very hard for me, and we would have to apply for, you know, whatever. And it would probably take weeks. And then at that point, it would probably be too late. So, and that was strange, man. It was just strange also having, like, it's okay. At that point in 2020, it was like we hadn't been doing a lot of the online competitions. Now we're doing like the quarterfinals, and that's like almost like a full competition. You do more than one event at a day. It's a little bit more than the open. But this was like a little strange. Like you don't really know like how fast do you need to go in that workout. Some of the workouts we probably messed up. Like I want to say,
that was the year that
day was a mess up. Yeah.
Was that the year that you and Sarah pretty much trained together the whole year? That 2020 year?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, because she I remember talking to her about it, and she said the same thing. It's like, you know, she didn't think she was going to make it to the games if she would have qualified, you know, for the 5, and that it was different doing all those qualifiers or the online portion, you know, at home. And because it seemed like you did you guys were doing it at your gym, right? The gym that you normally go to.
Yeah. So we did, I think and then also that, like we did this first day at my gym. It's in the basement. It was just like, it was way too many people down there. The air quality was fucking shit, and it was just like we weren't really making it easier on ourselves, because we did the first day at my gym, and then the day after we went to hers, and that's like, you know, 90 minutes away from me, and it's just like I don't think I really approached it like it was the CrossFit Games, and you know, I just, you know, 8th was a great spot to be in at that point.
Yeah, kept the top 10 streak alive. But did you watch the top 5 guys and girls compete when they were in California that year?
Yeah, and I think, I watched, and it was, many of the workouts were awesome. Like I really liked when they did the rowing heavy shoulder to overhead bar muscle up workouts, like 5 rounds or something.
Yeah, this was a tribute to the first ever CrossFit Games event.
Yeah,
2007 Reloaded, I think they called it.
Yeah, Reloaded. Yeah. That one was very nice. They had the run. I really love that they had to run And then Dave was like, well, okay, you got to go back now.
Go back.
Like, Fraser was quite, he was pretty annoyed, but Chandler Smith was like, no problem. And then he just went back. That was awesome. Like, but yeah, I would question the last workout a little bit.
That was the thing I wanted to ask you, was if there were work, because it's the only CrossFit Games workouts since 2014 that you haven't done.
Yeah.
And so
I'm completely okay with it. Completely okay with not doing that last one, because I remember being there like, holy shit, I don't even want to be there. I'm completely okay with this.
Do you remember if you did any other workouts? Like, did you do the reloaded workout? Just like that looks like a fun, good training workout.
Yeah, I think I did that. Yeah, probably like 2 or 3 weeks after I did that one, and then many of the workouts they had were like a little bit specific to what
the
they
ramp.
had outside.
Yeah.
That's true. The swimming workout, the bike repeater, Happy Star, where you had to run up some different slopes in the like it'd be tough to replicate some of those workouts for sure.
The swim one was awesome though. Now I have to think that one was
very
nice.
different style swimming workout than they've really ever had before.
I like that. Yeah. The intervals.
Yeah, the intervals. Yeah, it was probably very painful.
I think Quant won. Did Samuel Quant win that for the men?
Yeah, I think so.
He did. I think he broke. Didn't he break? Oh no, Adler broke the streak, the win streak that Fraser had during that games. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Fraser came 7 pounds and then 9 seconds short of a clean sweep for the entire weekend.
Oh, yeah, he was very dominating that year. Yeah. Very dominating, and
I think the 7 pounds was almost like a math error. I think, or it was something where O'Keefe thought, I don't know, it was something crazy where Fraser had more in the tank, but he just didn't know what Adler had on his bar.
Okay, yeah.
Either way, it was pretty crazy what they were doing that year. Did you find yourself when you were watching that as like a fan, or was like the competitor in you kind of like, I miss it, or was it anything else?
I definitely missed it. I of course throughout the weekend like was thinking a little bit like, oh fuck, like there were many good workouts there I would have liked to do, but at the same time, like, wasn't this like a little bit late in the summer?
It was like October, I think.
Right. So it just didn't fit in. I was okay with it, but there were some workouts. Probably I thought of some workouts that I would have done well in, and then I wanted to be there. And then there were some workouts that I wouldn't have done so well in, and I was okay not being there. But
fair enough.
Yeah, strange year. I just think life in general was just strange at that point. So it was like, yeah.
Okay, well, I thought that would be fun to kind of get your perspective because
we
have this 11-year period, and actually one of the guys that we work with, he's got these stats for the most number of games events or the most number of consecutive games events that the people have participated in, and on the most number, you're right up there to maybe first or second now.
Okay, how many do you know?
I don't have that available, but I might be able to find it here in a second.
Yeah,
and then. But on the consecutive, it breaks your streak because you didn't do those workouts, and and most people didn't, right? And even if you look at the people who are on that list, like they don't have the longevity other than Noah. So, but anyway, back to this question: of the ones that you have done, when you see this, what are some that come to mind right off the bat? Favorite events that you've had a chance to do?
There was probably the first one in 2014. The swim event did very well. I think I came in 6th. It was in the ocean in LA. We were doing some kettlebell thrusters, going out
on the beach. Yeah,
on the beach.
I remember that workout. Yeah.
I was just very happy with finishing probably around that 6th place, and I think no one really expected me to do good in that. my swimming at that point, like I was getting better for sure, but it wasn't great. But I was also proud of just keeping myself relaxed in the ocean, because it's like there's no way you can't really swim in the ocean here in Iceland. Like it's way too cold. Like you
Too
have to
cold.
be wearing a thing, and like there's no way we would just go out and swim in the ocean. Like some people might do it, but it's just not something that people do. And then obviously in 15, like winning Murph is just like, it just stays up there and I'm reminded every year when people do Murph, and it's just like yeah, it just did not make any sense to me at all.
That you won the workout?
Yes. Yeah.
that was a very hot day. A lot of athletes paid a price for that day, and you looked amazing doing this workout.
Yeah, I mean, and coming from Iceland, like I don't know if you guys realize, because like we've had one day this summer where it goes to 20 degrees. What is 20 degrees? Like 65?
Yeah, something like that. Someone will tell us here in a second.
The average temperature in June in Iceland is like 10 degrees. And like every time the sun hits my skin, it probably takes it like 5 minutes to burn, like for my skin to get like a little burnt.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like you're handling 40 degrees, like 95 to 100. I don't know what it was in LA in a long, like 30-minute plus workout, and then coming in first. We did the prep for sure, but I'm just having a little bit hard time understanding why handling the sun that day was not a problem. And it really hasn't been a lot of problem over the years handling the sun. We go out obviously 4 or 5 weeks every year to the States to get used to, but it's kind of like if you don't live there like throughout the year, I just don't think that we have the advantage. I think other people might have the advantage of just being in the sun. But we do some heat protocols and like sauna and all that kind of stuff like leading up. But that definitely helps. But it's just, that was funny to win that workout. I was definitely not the one that was supposed to win the workout.
The one who was supposed to win the workout wasn't there that year, but he came the next year and he made sure to set the record straight.
Yeah, but that wasn't Murph. That was just...
That's different. That was different. That's right.
That's true. That's funny.
It was.
That was a variation of Murph for sure.
Do you remember being at some point in that workout and realizing like, holy shit, I'm gonna win this workout?
Yeah, it was when we started doing I think it was starting the beginning of the squat, or like soon in the squat sets, I was starting to just like gain a little bit on Fraser and Jonakoski. And then I probably went out to the last run, maybe about like 90 seconds to 2 minutes before Fraser. He was definitely running faster than me at the last mile. But when at the turnaround, I kind of realized that he was too far away to catch me. And then it was just like about enjoying a little bit the moment. And,
I think it was Vellner after he won the Elevated Elizabeth event. He talked about this very rare phenomena in CrossFit competition, where you know that you're going to win the event before you finish the workout, and you actually have a chance to appreciate the moment. Because
that's crazy.
11 years,
you never have it.
And you have 2 event wins, but this one you actually had the whole half of that run coming backwards to enjoy it, and then to enter that stadium. There's still people doing other parts of the workout when you enter the stadium.
Yeah, and I remember thinking like, okay, I'm in the lead, and then there was this like motorbike, or might have been a 4-wheeler with a camera, and there was the burn of the gasoline, the smoke was just hitting me so much at that point, and like I did not need that at the end of the workout. I was also thinking home, I was like, fuck, like everybody's watching, like what are they thinking? Because I'm like in the lead and I'm gonna win Murph, and yeah, there was a lot of like going back and forth and thinking about what people were thinking that I was in the lead. And then running through the stadium was just awesome. Like I felt like a superstar, like absolutely. But this was also the beginning of me just recognizing that I was like, I am pretty good at this, and I can probably go pretty far if I keep going at it. So that was very important for my career to win Murph. And I don't just talk about being on the podium in 15, but also just like winning this workout gave me a lot of confidence for the future, basically.
Those two workouts that you bring up, your first ever workout, the swim at the beach, that's stands out in your memory. Obviously, this event win that will stand out in everyone's memory who thinks about your career in the sport. Are there any workouts that you remember doing? Maybe you didn't do so well in it, but you were like, damn, this is a cool event, and I'm like grateful that I have the chance to do it, even regardless of how I do in it.
Yeah, there was 333 in 2014 when Rich started walking. I was about to stop and ask him if he needed help, because I was such a fanboy at the time. Because I ran past him and I was just looking back like, shit, like, is he okay?
I remember this. I have a visual in my mind of BKG.
Yeah. And it just didn't make any sense to me. That one was pretty awesome. I think just like 2014 in general, just like being there, just having, I made it to the games. It was all about like taking it all in, being super stressed, completely fucking up my nutrition and hydration, and still, getting through the competition and, finishing. I don't know if people realize, but just like getting through those competitions is not easy. And, that's just to everyone that finishes a games weekend, you're a fucking hero. Like it's just very hard to do. And 2015, when we did the Murph, or like just that weekend, the Friday at the 2015 games was, in my mind, I know it's also in Stephen Fawcett's mind, and probably Phil Hesketh as well. They think, and we all think, that this is by far the hardest CrossFit Games day that has been programmed. Friday 2015, Friday.
Okay, let's see what we had here. Friday. So it started with Murph.
Yeah.
And it was 1,000,000 degrees.
Yes.
And then the snatch speed ladder, which was not a big turnaround. Like that was pretty quick after.
Yeah.
And then heavy DT.
Yes. That is pretty, that's crazy, right? That is still crazy today. Like if you would have that, and this was all outside. This was all in like 40 degrees or 38 to 40, whatever it was. And it was a quick turnaround, and it was just, I remember waking up on Saturday. It was like, we were in the house, we rented the house in way too far from the venue, probably a 30, 40-minute drive. And I was just rolling out of bed. It was so painful. Like, it was so freaking painful. And then we had the sprint event coming up on Saturday morning, I think. And I just remember everyone that Saturday morning just like trying to like squat down a little bit, and then when they stood up they were like, don't make any face, like you don't want to, like at that point it was like you don't want to show anybody that you're sore, kind of. And everybody was completely dying. And it was just funny to think back, because that Friday absolutely ruined everybody.
Yeah, and that day didn't necessarily get any easier. They had the soccer chipper, which Ben Smith crushed, but it crushed a lot of people.
Yeah. And I just think that people were so messed up. They were just messed up that they couldn't do the pick.
I'm really happy that you said that, though. That it's like you don't realize how hard just completing a CrossFit Games is.
Yeah.
And there's been years where there's no cuts. In fact, during 15, 16, 17, 18, 4 consecutive years, no cuts, which means everybody had the chance to experience that, which is the chance to go to the CrossFit Games is great. I personally am not a fan of the cuts. I feel like it's so hard to get there that you deserve the right to take the whole test, to finish. Like, and I know people would argue on the word deserve, but I like being able to see the whole group of people, no matter what the qualification process is, start and finish the competition. And I think that I do think that it's an experience that is earned, and you're not going to get it anywhere else.
No, I agree. I totally agree. I mean, the hours and the years that people have put in training and just like sacrificing a lot of things to get to the CrossFit Games, and then maybe if you do just only 1 or 2 days, it kind of feels like, oh, shit, I got a little bit robbed. I could have experienced it like a little bit better. And yeah, I totally agree. As a competitor, I think it's fine to have everybody do all the work, which also means that we get a little bit more rest because there's more heats. That's all we think about.
The rest. Yeah, I mean, it's
yep.
It's the part of the CrossFit Games that no one talks about, except for the people who are in it, is what do you do between the events? And there's actually not as much time as you think when it comes down to briefings, corral calls, and all these other like logistical things that you have to be present for.
Yeah. In the TV, especially, like when I was following the semifinals now this year, it's like, well, you watch an event, takes 10 minutes, and then it's fucking 4 hours until it goes again. But it goes by very quickly when you are competing because, like you said, you got to do the cool down right after the event and then eat. And then at that point, it's been an hour and you want to be able to maybe go back to your hotel room if the hotel is close by, just to like shower and get new clothes, eat a little bit more, come back. You probably need to be there like an hour before your event, do the warm-up and all that kind of stuff. So it is kind of, you're busy throughout the day when you are competing. There's not really a lot of time to lie down and sleep or nap or whatever it is, unless they have those, if there's like a bad weather or something and they have to, move the competition a little, postpone some events or whatever. Outside of that, it's pretty crazy, especially at the games because they have so many events, 13 to 15 events probably a year.
Yeah, that's what I like to see, 13 to 15. Sometimes they have like 10 to 12, which I think is...
Yeah. I agree. No, I agree. And, do you think they did that a little bit more in the past? 13 to 15 is like 10 to 12. Is that like a little bit more the new style?
I think when people are talking about the CrossFit Games, it's a mistake to talk about any one year in isolation if you're doing like an evaluation of it. I think that Dave and Boz have I haven't asked them this, and I don't know that they've said it, or at least not said it directly, but I think that they like to create an element of unpredictability. So if the range of workouts is 3, it's going to be 12, 13, or 14 every year. That becomes more predictable than if there's 10 compared to 15. It's a wider range.
Exactly.
I liked in the context of the games historically that they didn't swim last year, because otherwise it's just like, okay, well, we know we're going to the games, there's going to be one swimming event.
Yeah.
I would also like it if one year there were 2 swimming events and there was something that was kind of like the interval style, and there was something that was like the swim kayak, a long swim, short swim, pair it with some different stuff. They do that with running. And we just saw it. We saw Murph, and the next day you were sprinting. So why don't we have 2 swimming events one year at the games? That gives because you could be an Olympic swimmer. People are watching Olympic trials right now, and you could do a 50 meter, and in 18 seconds you've made it to the Olympics. Or you could swim the mile, and you're out there all day swimming laps and laps and laps, and you achieve the same goal. So I think it could, to keep it fresh, to keep it new for the fans, because someone said this, it's not just about the athletes. The fans want to see their athlete, their competitor, their favorite, even if they're not doing the best, they want to see them compete.
Absolutely.
So who knows? Maybe we'll get 2 swims one of these years as well.
Do you think they will ever differ on the styles, or like have you do backstrokes, have you do freestyle, have you do you know what I mean? Like, or is that a little bit too specific skill?
I personally, as a swimmer with a swimming background, I think it's it's totally fine. So I would wonder, like, because I parallel with running and biking. And if you think about biking, they have had it in a variety of different styles, right? You had the crit where you're racing laps. You had the cyclocross where there's some little obstacles. You've had the bike repeater where it's just these short sprints on grass. So like they've varied up the biking over the last few years. The running,
but they haven't had it like a very high. I think the criterion high skill, like if you knew how to bike on the road bike, like you were, like Adrian obviously won that, and then Jonne was probably up there as well. If he competed, he probably didn't compete. I don't remember, at least. But they haven't really done any like mountain bike skill. They haven't had us to like. Since we're talking about this, they haven't had us to, you know, not that they would ever throw us in a downhill or anything, but they haven't had us do like a lot of like elevation and down and good turns. And it's more been like it's fucking out on the field and you jump off because you have to carry your bike through a sand. And it's like, it's not really a high skill. Like, yeah, there are turns, like 180 turn on a grass. It's like the easiest thing you could possibly do. But if you're a better biker, it definitely is a separator. I'm not saying that.
And on the on the running side, they've had like I think it was that sprint event you talked about. Like I think there were 2 hurdles and maybe some zigzags. But the variety of running, like they could put in that we run laps on repeat over and over again at competitions, 400s, 800s, whatever they are. But they've what if they, like, if I was thinking, oh, maybe they'll put in some different types of swimming, I might say like, oh, on this workout where there's, laps of 300 meters running, there's hurdles. Every lap, you also have 7 hurdles. So you're putting in a different style. It's not just running, but there's some jumping with running.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I saw something like that it would be like the pathway to maybe eventually seeing, a
different style on the swimming.
Yeah, but the swimming, like, if they were going to do that, I would prefer if they said, hey, for the CrossFit Games this year, you guys are going to need to swim more than just freestyle.
Yeah.
Like just it's kind of like when they had the crit that they said, you're going to need to know how to clip in and out of a bike. Like I'm glad that they put that a month early because it's a safety thing. And it's also just,
if you haven't done it, it's very weird, right?
And you guys are so good as just athletes in general. Like there's athletes that are amazing swimmers to terrible swimmers at the CrossFit Games every year. But if you told them, hey, 1 month from now, you need to be able to do the breaststroke.
Yeah.
They would all figure out how to do it. It might not be pretty, but they'd all figure out how to do it. But if you give them 1 day, you're going to have some people that don't even have a chance to express that.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. For sure.
Swimming. Who knew we would talk so much about swimming?
Yeah. No, because like I was in Virginia with the boys last year and we went to the pool like a lot. And we didn't have swimming, but we went to the pool a lot. And it was just like seeing guys that have, trained swim like throughout their like childhood. It's just absolutely no way you can beat those guys. There's like I will never be as good of a swimmer as Jonne is. And he was on a pretty high level in Finland. And it will probably take, I would have to lose a lot of kilos and then train for 10 years. And then, I'm too old to go back to CrossFit. You know what I mean?
But this has actually kind of been your secret across the career, is that I always mention to athletes when they are competing or getting into competing in CrossFit that it's you're going to have like challenges that arise in competition, whether it's a workout, you're not feeling well, you weren't prepared for something, you didn't execute, a bad judge, something, it happens all the time. Your performances at the games are remarkably consistent. It's very difficult to look at most of your games and pick out 1 or 2 workouts and be like, wow, he really struggled with that. Like a bad workout for you is usually like 22nd out of 40. Whereas a lot of guys, even guys that beat you, have workouts that are 36, 32, 28, 39. It's an outlier. Even though those workouts don't look so bad on paper, compared to some others, maybe worse workouts. Are there times that, when you're competing at that level and you come off the floor and you're just pissed about either something that happened or something that you did, and how do you rally from that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I come off like, it's also like, I think it's important to allow yourself to be a little bit pissed, just like get it out of the system. Like, I've tried to kind of just hide it, but it's just like stays with me a little bit too much. Like I have big temper, and like, I don't know, like not a lot of people know this, but I have like a huge temper. And if something goes like pretty much like wrong, or if I do bad in a workout, like I get very pissed, unless I just did my best. But if I know that I could have done much better, then I just allow myself to be pissed for like 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever it is. But then it is about time to like turn around and think about what's ahead of you, and that is the next event, right? Just try to then channel that anger into doing good in the next one. But I've also like had, it was funny that Colton Mertens was actually talking about this at the semis this year, but he had some like anger issues when he was a kid. I definitely had anger issues when I was a kid, and my mom actually sent me to a psychiatrist before I started school. But this is something that I've had to just not overcome, but just I've had a lot of energy and sometimes a lot of anger, and I've had to, learn how to use it and channel it into the right ways, basically. And finding CrossFit when I was 19 or 20 actually made me so tired and took so much energy out of me that, I started sleeping much better. I started eating much more consistently, which also meant that my fluctuations were like a little bit more stable. And yeah, I have a lot to thank to CrossFit, and this is one of the things. And then, I'm talking about a completely different thing, but yeah, I get pissed as fuck if I don't feel like I'm performed.
That's the phrase I was waiting for. No,
Yeah.
it's I think it's perfect what you said, because you can see a kid that has a temper, and you could have one perspective of it that's wow, that kid's out of control. The parents need to do something about that. But you, just like almost anything, you could also have a different perspective, and you could say, ooh, that kid's got passion. That kid's got fire. That kid's got intensity. I just need to find the way to channel it, like you said, into something positive. And, your parents seemed like they were pursuing solutions that were along that line. They were seeking out, okay, let me talk to someone who knows about this. And I think that it's a good thing for people to hear, is that you were, because that's not an uncommon thing. I had temper as a kid too. And I also channeled it, through sports, and my parents found outlets for me that I could get that energy out, just energetic people.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's important that people also hear those things.
CJ, this is too good. I'm about to miss my plane. Good luck in Texas, BK.
Thank you.
Stella Atwood, I believe, is a CrossFit Games athlete in the teenage division. Favorite CrossFit guy of all time. We love BKG.
Well, I got a lot of fans.
Yeah, a lot of fans.
I love it.
In those moments that you're, in those moments where you're fired up or you're frustrated or pissed, because someone was asking about Yami here. He said he can be creative in his training. Do you want to disclose any voodoo secrets of Yami? But in particular, you can think about that if you want to. But like when he sees you in that, is there ever a time where he's like, okay, BK, that's enough. We got to move on?
Yeah, or it's more like he allows me to, he says, just get it out of the system, 5, 10, 15 minutes, then talk with me later. It's like, he's not
gives
trying.
You the space.
He gives me the space, and I think that's the best thing he can possibly do. And this is one of the things that he's good at, right? I mean, he knows me. He knows that this is what I need.
Yeah, when I was there, was it a couple years ago, when you had so many good athletes and personalities there, he was very good at just knowing each athlete and what they needed to do, because I saw that with BKG, I saw what he did with Khan, I saw what he did with Tola, because everyone deals with things differently, and he's the same way, and he knows those athletes so well, and he does a good job, and he knows how to talk to them, how to manage them, and that's one reason why like someone like Khan and Tola will always be indebted to him, because that was like the first coach that they, I guess, truly got to know who they were, not as an athlete, but as a person. And, it's just amazing seeing that in person and getting to know Yami and getting to know you guys and seeing how you guys perform just in practice, because I'm a football player, by trade. And, you learn more about a football player at practice and how he reacts in practice than you do at a game. And that's why that's why I love going to watch, you guys train, because that's where I get to see you guys in your real element and how you deal with things. So
absolutely. Yeah, that is true. I think he's very good at this, and he's dealing with us, like he's dealing with so many different personalities, right? Like Khan is nothing like Tola is nothing like me, and I'm nothing like any. So it's like he's got the whole package, and he's dealing with it like phenomenally.
BK, we got about 5 minutes or so.
Okay.
What's besides CrossFit, like where are you kind of at in life right now? Are you 30 years old now? Will you be this
31,
year?
31.
31 this year.
You're so old. You're so old.
Did you say I'm old, or did you say I'm young?
You're old. You're old.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I'm not getting any younger, and at this year, I'm still in the same town. Like, this is the town, Hveragerði. I'm 30 minutes outside of Reykjavik. I've been here since 2013, and I basically moved to this town from my hometown to coach at a gym that my brother and his wife owns. I mean, I have a house here in Hveragerði. My girlfriend lives with me. She's studying dentistry. So hopefully I can retire and not do anything when my career is over.
You guys have been together for a while?
Yeah, we've been together for 4 years plus.
I think I met her one time.
Yeah,
but it's difficult. It's difficult to be the partner of someone who competes in the sport of CrossFit. Like,
oh yes,
it's some people have mentioned this recently. I've heard people talk about that. I think Alex Kazan may have been speaking about it the other day, that the life of a professional CrossFit athlete might seem glamorous, but it's hard work. Like, it's not just the work in the gym all the time, but it's everything that's required to be able to get back in the gym after that, from sleeping, eating, recovery work. Like, you guys have to do it well, you have pretty full days, and then competitions is a totally another beast, especially when you may have to go to the games a month early. You're unavailable for that entire week primarily. But how nice is it to have someone supportive, in this back half of your career?
Yeah, I mean, it makes such a big difference. Like, it wouldn't be possible. I think that we probably wouldn't be together if she didn't understand, right? I mean, we basically, like, I knew who she was before we started dating, but she started training at the CrossFit gym, so she knew before we started dating, like, how much I actually trained, so she had an idea, and I had already at that point been making it to the games, so she came in like knowing a little bit like what she was getting herself into, but I don't think that she realized how much it actually was. And but this also means that, last weekend my family was in Norway for wedding. My niece was getting married in Norway last weekend, and my whole family went and we didn't. So because I kind of need to be here, and we're doing games training, and it's hard, and you can't really go away for 4 or 5 days. And this is part of like who I am as an athlete, and what I want to be putting a lot of powder into this, and this is just didn't make any sense for me to go to this wedding, and she understands, and I really appreciate that. Well, we also mentioned like, well, it would have been nice to be in Norway, like weather would be like a little bit better, and we would having a great time, but we're looking at this goal that I have at the end of the summer, and then we also think, well, we'll just do something later in August. So you just got to be like positive, and family and friends, they also understand at this point. I've been doing it long enough that people kind of know that, I won't be available, especially during summer.
Is it a very specific goal this year?
The goal now is always to do better than I did the year before. I'm coming off a year that was like a little mentally hard, dealing with that back thing, having to sit by on a max event. And I'm also coming off, like, I don't think that I showed my real side at the semifinals. I really want to do much, much better, and I want to be like the contender of being up there to win. And I'll be fooling myself if I wasn't in this to try to win. Like, I'm never just going to the games to participate or like just having a great time. Like, you'll only have a great time if you do good. It's not great to be 35th. Like, no one feels fucking awesome. Like, at least not me. Like, some people might. I just feel like I'm not there to do that. And
Wow.
I want to show people something special, and that makes me happy.
Well, it's pretty clear from the support we've had today that there's a lot of people that are in your corner, rooting for you, that have been inspired by you. And I'm gonna just leave you with this one because Lazar Jukic already has given me a hard time about it. But I love European CrossFit, but I don't know if the Europeans can challenge for the podium this year. So I'm looking to you guys to prove me wrong.
We'll definitely try our best, and this lights our fire that you're saying this.
Good. That's what I want. That's what I always want as athletes to have whatever they can draw upon to be motivated and amped up.
Awesome.
If you clearly have the experience, you clearly have the fitness. This was like such a fun 90 minutes for us to just catch up, talk about everything.
It's been a while. Thank you guys for having me on the show. It's awesome.
And of course, thank you to Snorri and Lucille for making it possible with all their athletes this couple of weeks.
BK, when are you coming into the States, and where are you going?
We aren't entirely sure. I'm open to suggestions. This is a new spot.
Yeah.
We aren't really sure if we're gonna go out super early because it's obviously in Texas, and we know that 99% of the games is going to take place inside. So it's a little bit like we'll be there early enough, but we won't be spending the whole summer. I'm going to Finland and train with the boys in about 2 weeks.
Ooh, I'm going to be in Norway in 2 weeks. We won't be far up away from each other.
No, you can just fly over and say hi.
Maybe I will. I have a free week there, but I have some plans already that I'm thinking about. We'll see.
Okay, we'll see.
Anyway, thank you, BKG. We'll see you in a couple weeks. The
Thank
legend,
you so much.
the king of Europe. Appreciate
See you out
man.
there. See
you.
Bye.
Take care, buddy.
BKG, what an honor to have him on the show. Great competitor, great guy. And, I hopefully gave you guys some insights just into kind of his memories and stuff from competing over the years. We do have another guest coming on. Dylan, I'm going to let you say your last name since I definitely messed it up yesterday.
Can I try it?
Go for it.
Knezevich.
Almost. You have to say the K.
Knezevich.
Oh,
yes. Knezevich. It's not English. It's Serbian.
Okay.
Serbia.
You do have to say the K.
Well, I did better when I could see it visually in front of me. I was trying to remember it yesterday, and I think I got the vowels wrong with the V and the Z. But Dylan is the owner of Fittest of South Carolina, the competition that will be streaming this weekend. Whenever possible, I like to invite competition organizers onto the show in the week prior to covering them so that they have a chance to give us some background information on the competition itself. You and I guess we've officially met like 2 months ago in person, right?
Yeah, that's right. At Crash Crescendo, yeah.
Yeah, and you guys are actually, Crash is partnering with Fittest of South Carolina this year, which I think you announced yesterday or today.
Yeah, in the last 24 hours, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember if I saw it late last night or early this morning, but you've been around the CrossFit scene for a while, and especially in the South here in the Carolinas, a lot of people around here. And was it 2 years ago now that you took over this competition?
We actually just took over at the end of last year. So this would be our first season as owners hosting the competition.
And I guess, what was the motivation? Like, what did you see in this competition? Whether it was through experience competing, volunteering, having athletes compete there, that kind of inspired you to pick up the mantle and carry it forward.
Yeah, I mean, I participated as an athlete back in 2021 when it was still only for the upstate of South Carolina before it expanded to all of South Carolina. Had a great time competing in that, and knew Gordon Lake, the previous owner of the conversation, and kind of, his vision a little bit to take the competition to a higher level, and keep expanding the competition. And as I saw things progressing over the years, I just thought it would be great to really grab the reins and take it from a CrossFit gym and the local competition feel, and take it into a place like a convention center and start trying to elevate that experience for our community.
And this is I'm actually not sure how many competitions like this exist anymore, but the qualification process for this is the game season. It's the open and the quarterfinals. And depending on how well you do there relative to your division, you get invited to represent that division as one of the fittest in the state of South Carolina.
That's correct. Yeah. It was really important to us to hold true to that. I think, like you mentioned, it was a little bit more popular back in the day to use the open as a qualifier. And that's kind of always how the fittest season has been since its inception in 2018. This year, we introduced quarterfinals into that process because that's something, obviously, that CrossFit HQ is trying to push and bring more participation to, give people more of an opportunity to compete in the season. And so by us introducing that into the process, we were hoping, to piggyback and help bring more participation to quarterfinals in our state.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. There's, several aspects of hosting online competitions that are challenging. And usually the payoff is that, you get the registration money. But this is a way that's, you trust the programmers. The season is designed to filter out, for different levels of competitor as you go. You don't have to do the scoring reviews.
Right.
And you still end up with a good representation of athletes, because people are participating in them.
Yeah. Yeah. I had several people reach out and ask if we were going to be requiring video submissions for quarterfinals. And I was like, I don't have the manpower to do that. So no, we'll just go based off, CrossFit's rules. Yeah, that would be a headache to have to look through, 2,000 plus athletes videos.
And so when it comes to the actual competition weekend, which we can see here, starts on a Friday evening, and then Saturday all day and Sunday most of the day. What's the mindset when you're structuring the competition, from the the number of days, the layout of the workouts, the challenge of the workouts? What's the approach that you take there?
Yeah, it was really important to me to analyze the last 3 seasons of the CrossFit season. So since the inception of quarterfinals, what has it really looked like? Knowing that we would be requiring quarterfinals into that process. And then the ultimate vision of this competition is, one, to provide a platform for people that want to eventually make it to semifinals, no matter what the division is. Or if it's just somebody in our local area that wants to have that high level competition feel. So I went through and analyzed quarterfinals, analyzed semifinals and the games, what modalities were they majorly testing, what movement patterns are they testing, how many events are in each stage of the competition. And what that all boiled down to is what you'll see this weekend with 7 scored events, because that's kind of historically what we've seen in a semifinal setting. And then spreading those out to where we have 2 on Friday, 3 on Saturday, and 2 on Sunday. So we were trying to mirror that process the best that we could.
Makes sense to me for the kind of a state of objectives. I really love the 3-day 7 test competition. If you can sustain that, you're gonna have a pretty well-rounded test at the end of it, and have the best athletes in all their divisions filtered towards the top. I would think. You also made the decision to get in touch with me this year and pursue this opportunity to stream at least the elite divisions of the competition this year. What was the mindset there?
Yeah, we really wanted to have you come in just because we have a broad audience of athletes throughout the state. For the people that live on the coast, that's a 4-hour drive to come up to Greenville and watch a competition. And not everybody can do that, especially on a Friday afternoon, or if they have to head home, early on Sunday. And so that was a big motivating factor to open that up for our coastal people and bring you in to live stream for them, give them the opportunity to watch their friends and their family compete. But then, also I've really enjoyed watching your work over the last however long you've been doing, your tour, jumping in last year in semifinals and scrounging together, making those first couple of days exciting, and then continuing on from there. I mean, you guys do great work, and you're bringing access to places that there hasn't been access before. So we thought it'd be valuable to partner up with you.
Well, we obviously appreciate the kind words, and that's exactly what we want to do. We know that there are competitions happening all over the place. There are competition organizers that are super passionate about creating a great experience, and that there are, the number of people who may be interested in watching them varies, but there are people that absolutely, if they had the chance to, that can't be there in person, would want to watch it. And it's been the case everywhere we've gone. So we're looking forward to being able to showcase what you've put together for the guys or girls that can't be on site this weekend. If you can be on site, Greenville Convention Center, come on by, say hi. We'll be hanging out. Both of us will be there. Any ideas towards the future yet, or are you just kind of trying to make sure that this is a great weekend and then you'll reevaluate after the fact?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely want to keep expanding the experience. We haven't exactly landed on what that looks like and whether that will be as soon as next year or maybe we wait till year 3. But we definitely want to continue to grow the experience, and whether that looks like always having a division for only South Carolina athletes and finding the fittest of South Carolina, and then potentially having an open division where people from out of the state could travel and come participate as well. It's kind of up in the air there. But no matter what, we definitely want to continue to expand our reach, whether that continues to be fittest of South Carolina, if it becomes fittest of the Carolinas, and we invite you hooligans from North Carolina down to compete, whatever that looks like, if it becomes, fittest of the Southeast. But we definitely want to continue to grow that experience and provide a platform for everybody that wants to compete at a higher level, like a semi.
You could even potentially merge those divisions where it's just in the elite division. And obviously you have your overall winners, but you still have a prize that's allocated to the fittest person from South Carolina in each division or something like that.
Yeah, that could definitely be something we could look at doing.
Any, this article, by the way, is up on B.Friendly Fitness. It goes through a bunch of different stuff from the history to the athletes competing, the schedule, and then the workouts. Are there any particular workouts this weekend that you're excited about from either a devious or a fun perspective?
Just the title.
Yeah.
Just how you named him got me excited. So obviously you're a music fan.
So I have to make sure that I give Dave Hardy a shout out on that one. He'll be one of our head judges this weekend. And I texted Dave and I was like, hey, what do you think about doing like a music theme for the names of our workouts? And I didn't know that Dave was such a huge music fan, and he was instantly like super excited about the opportunity. And he was like, do you care if it's all like 80s hair band stuff? And I was like, nah, do whatever you're into, man. And so obviously you can see that come through in the names of the workouts. The ones that maybe I'm more excited to watch, I think Urgent will be very exciting just because it's an elimination style workout.
And it's right at the start of the competition, which is like usually those are kind of hidden in the middle or even towards the end.
Yeah. For our 35 to 39-year-olds and our individuals, they'll be starting with that workout. So that'll be exciting to see, especially having those first workout jitters coming into the weekend. Who can stay dialed in and accurate during that workout. The big lifting workout, hit me with your best shot, and then rolling into you've got another thing coming. Those are always exciting workouts for people to watch.
Somewhat unique style of the lifting event. Also, it's 4 intervals for total load, but there's a buy-in every time. So you have to have there has to be consideration to making sure you get a number on the board each time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of strategy in that workout. How hard do you row so that way you can be consistent in your double unders, give yourself time to hit a lift in general? How heavy do you open? How confident are you in your technique? Do you play it safe? Maybe you stay at the same weight all 4 rounds instead of climbing in weight. Does that pay off for you? There's a lot of questions in that workout for sure.
Something else that you guys do that I wanted to ask you about is that you do the briefings for the athletes prior to the competition. I think you've already had both of those.
That's right.
And is it so they're basically online?
Mm-hmm.
My understanding is they're optional for the athletes to attend, and then they're also available after the fact if they want to watch them.
Yes. So we had a call last Thursday night and last night to brief everybody on the standards. And I think the majority of the field did participate. I think we had about 70 people on the call last week, and the number said 50 last night. But I could also hear when people were asking questions that there were multiple people in the room, which tells me maybe people were sitting together, and we got everybody on there. So again, a shout out to Dave. That was one of Dave's ideas. And I think it was brilliant. We were able to answer a lot of people's questions before we get to the weekend, and hopefully that allows us to, run things smoothly.
So it was the same briefing, but 2 separate options to attend.
That's correct. Yeah.
I love it. I mean, JR does some similar stuff where he'll send out all that information written format ahead of time. I know other organizations that have done similarly the night before competition. They'll even maybe go over the flow on the actual floor on Instagram and people can watch it. It's when you're planning for a competition weekend, you have to consider those athlete briefings, and they take time. They take time away from being able to use the floor. So I love it when competitions have the, experiment with different opportunities to get that information into athletes' hands, answer questions ahead of time.
Yeah, I really hope, it helps us to run a succinct weekend and keep everything on time. We did make the standards and the flow available at the start of the month in June. So people had 2 or 3 weeks to test and go over those things and, make sure they were familiar with the standards before we jumped on those calls. So I think that also made it helpful that they could see that stuff and draw up questions before we even got on there. And then we'll cap it off tonight with our judges. It'll be a judges only call where we go through all the same things we did with the athletes. So.
Yeah, and I also just want to echo what you said. That guy, Dave Hardy, he is an impressive person when you see him at competitions, and he's filled in a lot of different roles. But both you and he have been very good in communication. He reached out to me last week with some questions, being conscious of the fact that I'm going to be streaming it, asking what the judges can do on their end so that I'm getting the information that I need to be able to relay it to people, that are watching the stream. It's really rare that people, it's actually probably the biggest challenge of integrating a broadcast or a live stream to a competition that's already functioning and running really well, is making sure that the communication is there. It's just, adding in that layer of communication, realizing, oh, yeah, there's people watching it here, and the athletes and judges and volunteers, they all need to know what's going on. But if we're going to have people watching it at their homes around the world or whatever, they also need to know what's going on. And the only way to do that is to make sure the person who's communicating to them on the stream is kept up to date with what's happening. You guys have done that very seamlessly, I think.
Well, I appreciate that for sure. And I think one of the things that we talked about when you and I first tossed around the idea of working together was like the flow of the workouts and trying to put things on the floor that are going to help you, broadcast to people appropriately. So, we're going to have towers with flip cards on them for the lifting workouts. So that way, people in the audience as well as at home, know how much people are lifting. We're going to have the barbells, go down the floor as the workout unfolds. So that way you can tell where everybody's at against each other, like in the rounds of 21, 15, 9 and a deadlift, or in a 3-round workout when we're doing front squats, they'll move the bar so you know what round they're on, different things like that. So that hopefully that brings an added value to your live stream as well.
Well, I'm super excited for it. This is the first stop of our mini little summer tour. We got four stops prior to the CrossFit Games. Obviously, there's a ton of stuff that you could be talking about for the next 6, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever it is before the games. But we know there's always awesome things happening in this world of CrossFit. And I'm pretty excited to get out there 2 days. I guess I'll be there in 2 days, right? On Thursday.
That's right.
Get situated and then get after Friday, Saturday, Sunday with you guys.
Yeah, we're excited to have you out. Can't wait for you to bring it to the online platform.
Yeah, we've got everything on the back end squared away for the broadcast. All the workouts are in, the graphics and everything like that. So we're ready to go.
Awesome. Sounds like a plan.
Hey, I do have a question.
Yeah.
Will the DJ be playing the song of the event the whole time during that particular event?
Just the walkouts.
I think the athletes might be a little irritated if we were looping the song the whole workout, especially on Don't Bring Me Down, where they're going to be on the floor for 30 minutes. So
that's part of the test. It's a mental test. No, I think it's great. And again, thanks for having B.Friendly be a part of this, and hopefully Brian doesn't suck too bad.
I think he's got a pretty good track record so far, so hopefully this isn't the weekend he poops on us.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. But either way, leave a review, 5-star review or whatever. We'll appreciate that.
Of course.
Sweet. All right, Dylan. Well, man, like I said, see you in a couple days. Thanks for taking the time and kind of introducing the world to the vision that you have, the competition that you've organized there. Maybe we'll learn some more about it over the weekend. But for those that'll be watching, we'll have all the streams times. They might already be scheduled. If not, they will be before the competition starts. Yeah. And Fittest South Carolina going on this weekend.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, Dylan. I'll see you in a couple of days.
All right. Bye-bye.
For those that maybe joined late, that was Dylan Knezovic with Fittest South Carolina. And before that, Björgvin Karl Guðmundsson from Iceland, finishing up a day of training, took some time to spend with us. Patrick, we've been looking forward to every one of these, but BKG is just such a pleasure and an easy guest to have, even though he doesn't really do that many podcasts.
Yeah, I think, I was just thinking, when you said it's hey, you've been with us 90 minutes, it didn't seem like 90 minutes at all. And it very rarely does when we have these guests, but with like BKG especially, I could just, you don't hear him speak too much, especially in any podcast. But when he does speak, it just, his recollection, his opinions. I mean, I'm over here. I got like a whole like keeping timestamps of things I want to clip, and it's like, okay, I it ends up I'm just gonna have to throw the whole podcast up there or something like that. And no, it's just really cool. We're very fortunate. We both got to know BKG. Not just as an athlete, but personally. I've went out to visit him out in Iceland and the whole group, and we could have did 90 minutes just talking about him, Tola, and Khan and the antics they get through. It's just really cool because you wouldn't, you won't hear an athlete, I think, on the male side have anything bad to say about BKG, because there was a question someone asked, and I wish we would have had more time with BKG, just kind of like, what athletes he prefer, or, that he considers are, that he's closest to. And I'm pretty sure you'd be surprised by some of the people he would name. I know him and Fraser had a pretty good relationship, and it's just really cool. We're really lucky to have, Lynn mentioned, these European athletes. We're just very lucky to have these athletes that take time out of their day to spend 90 minutes, an hour with us. And it's just cool.
Patty V, Brent Frykowski, Indy easy talkers too. Absolutely. Guys that are just, they've been around for a long time. They're comfortable with media, in front of cameras. They have great stories to tell, unique perspectives. Pat and Brent, they were like two of the first guests we ever had on the show almost a year ago now.
Yeah. It's kind of like back to back. Yeah.
I think last week or maybe on Sunday night, someone was saying that it's time to get them on again. So maybe in July we can find a time to invite one or both of them on the show. But in the meantime, the rest of the week is pretty full.
Yeah.
Victor Hoffer had to reschedule from last week to this week. So he and his coach, Steve Fawcett from HWPO, will be on the show tomorrow. And then Yella Hoste will close out the week. Yella, he was just on with Jason CF Media, and Lucille actually went on that show with him.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'll give that one a listen if you guys want to learn a little bit about Yella, and then we'll try to see if we can either piggyback off of some of the topics from Jason or poke the bear, the Belgian bear. We had the Hungarian bear yesterday, Christoph Horvath. Dude, these are some big guys.
Yeah.
And
I'm trying it's crazy.
I was impressed with Yella in Lyon. So I'm looking forward to getting his take, his perspective on, he's had a lot of change in his life in the last year, and kind of get to dig into that a little bit with him. So
no, I can't wait. I mean, obviously I watching some of his past interviews and then not having direct interaction with him, he seems like he's very, very intelligent, very well-spoken person. And, and he's also seems like the type of guy to speak his mind too, which is cool. I mean, we've been very fortunate. A lot of athletes we've had on, they've been very open and free about things. And, it's really cool. Yeah.
Anything else
you got busy.
Today?
No, it's Muse's birthday today. She's 9.
That's one of his dogs. If you don't know, then shame on you.
Yeah, she's my Shiba Inu. I don't know. We're gonna do something. I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's been hot. I need to get a workout in. There's just so much stuff I need to do. I still have a lot of stuff I need to do work wise. Just running out of hours in the day. And of course, I slept in a little bit today.
Hey, you heard what PKG said. Sleep is important.
It is, exactly.
Sets you up for a good day.
Yeah. It's just
I got some good sleep last night. I had a productive morning. I already went to the gym, did some back squatting, did a little Metcon. Great interview with BKG. Nice of Dylan to join us. Yeah. So we'll see. I have work to do, but I'm tempted to go play disc golf again. I don't know if I'm going to be playing very much over the rest of the summer after this week. So I kind of want to it only takes me 2.5 hours to go to the course, play, and come back. I can still do work later on.
Yeah, Brian, you gotta treat yourself. Make some time for yourself. Damn it. Yeah.
Hey, that thing I posted, there's some people actually asking some good questions about disc golf. So it excites me that people are curious and wanting to try or learn about it. And even Chad wants to play.
I know. I think Chad would be a great disc golfer.
Maybe we will play in Denver. I mean, it's a really quick trip, but maybe Saturday morning.
Yeah, maybe. I'm down. I'll even bring my disc.
I don't know.
I'll bring my disc just in case. My 2 discs. Courtesy of you and Tommy Marquez.
Do you still have that Star Wars one I got you?
Hold on a sec.
Those two, I remember when they dropped those discs, and I was like, I have to get this for Tommy and Patrick.
Yep.
It's like the Baby Yoda, or no? You have what is that one called?
I have what's his name? The Mandalorian.
You have the Mandalorian. He had the Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
Both of them were great. Both of them are.
And this is the one I think Tommy got me.
What's it say? What's the disc called? It's just a glare.
It's a Shrike.
Oh yeah, Champion Shrike, one of my favorite discs of all time.
Yeah, the Champion Shrike. Yep,
that's Champion's the name of the plastic. Very dependable disc and good for your forehand too.
Oh, that's which I need. Yeah. So yeah, just a bunch of stuff going on. But yeah, obviously we have a busy week. I mean, you have a busier week because obviously you're back on the road doing some broadcasting of an event, which we're excited about. It was really cool for Dylan to come on. And then next week, we're in full reps ahead mode. We have 3 shows scheduled with participants from the reps ahead that will be participating. That includes, Sydney Wells, Paige Powers, Kyra Milligan, Nick Matthew, James Sprague, Kelly Stone, Malachi, and Jake Marconi. And then I think I got them all right this time.
You got them all. I'm impressed. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's why I'm the MC. But yeah, and then hopefully we can get Wednesday. Looks like it's an open day, and we're efforting maybe possibly getting an athlete, maybe another European, perhaps. So we've reached out to some, got some feelers out there. So it's pretty cool. Again, I appreciate everyone. We appreciate everyone spending their time today with us and BKG. Hopefully you got to learn a lot about him. It seems like people did. And we can't wait to share more about some of your favorite athletes. So, Brian, unless you got anything else to say, I can wrap this up.
Works for me.
All right. Well, everyone enjoy the rest of your day. It's Tuesday. Tuesday. 9 years ago today, I returned home from my longest deployment ever, and now I'm on the verge of getting ready for my next deployment. But and it's my dog's birthday, and yeah, it's an interesting day today. A lot of anniversaries and celebrations and other stuff today. But wherever you do, hopefully everyone stay safe, be safe, have fun, and as always, be friendly, our friends.